Dire team ban. Navi's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
We are ready to jump into the first series of the day. That means NoTechies versus Navi here in the upper division of the CIS DPC League. And you are, of course, watching ESL 1 powered by Intel. We are joined by Purge on the big screen. I'm still with Kyle and Odie Pixel here on the desk as well. Purge,
Dire team,
please give me some more glimmers of hope for NoTechies, because these other guys, they've just been trash talking them all day.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see why they don't have a lot of confidence in them after their last series, but I thought that the pressure that they applied on the map, despite losing the game, be semi-draft related, I thought that the organized pressure that they put on the map clearly showed that they're working together as a team. So while it didn't work out, it seems to me like they have some stuff going for them.
Thank you.
But they're already outdrafted, Chief. They're already outdrafted.
Pick good heroes.
Pick good heroes.
Teams pick good heroes.
Good team. Thank you, Purge. He said it. The man knows. Nick's first pick.
Yeah, but this is good.
And then the trend follow-up.
But this is good of NoTechies. They're also picking good heroes. Nick's assassin, OD we saw across the regions. This hero has a very good win rate. It's very strong right now.
Creep army, super effective against enemies. Okay, this is currently Navi have Pikachu up against a Gyarados and a Magikarp. All right, that's the scenario here. Who do you think is favored?
Bad for Gyarados. Quad electrical damage.
That's correct, because he's a water and flying type.
Wait, I never knew how that worked. I thought super effective was just double damage. It's super effective quad damage.
That's the thing.
They're super effective also.
There is. What, in the originals?
That is.
It never said that was super effective.
No.
You clearly did not have the strategy guide.
That's true. I believe in later expansions.
Well, the proper paper manual.
Well, later expansions,
with the magazine.
They made it clear it was like super critical or something. But in the original version, it would just say super, or like it was highly versus super.
No, it only said it was super effective. There wasn't a different phrase, was there? It was only super effective.
No, Owen's correct, but the way it didn't specify that there was quad damage.
Wow. I feel like
I've been lied to. Bad to ice.
That's why it took you so many extra hours to beat red.
Yeah.
That's why, that's why ground and rock Pokemon were so bad against water. Like water would quad them every time.
Well, at least there's no quad damage in Dota 2.
Well, that's the thing,
That's the new rune in the new patch. Watch out for it.
When you add Beastmaster and Chen together,
you get quad damage?
You get an army, okay? And I don't know how much you've studied medieval warfare, but typically the person or leader with the most people would win. And in this case, Beastmaster Chen, you're going to have Necrobook up rushed, you're going to have the Chen army, you're going to have sustain, you'll have a mech at 10 minutes into the game, plus the Hand of God. And I mean, talk about unfair abilities. The literal Hand of God.
That's great, Kyle. So I think the real thing that's going well for Navi with their massive units is that NoTechies doesn't have very much aim. And that's definitely one of Odie's weaknesses outside of his ulti. He's going to have to use Meteor Hammer to clear creeps, and so they're going to need some counter push in their next couple picks. Everyone dead over there?
No. I totally agree. I was hoping, well, I was kind of fearing rather another analogy from Kyle, and I'm glad that didn't happen. So we have a Lycan band out as well as a Weaver, a Troll, and a Rubik in the second band phase. If we're looking for wave clear and creep clear on the side of NoTechies, is there anything already with the first two picks that we feel Navi is lacking?
No, I mean, this is just really, it's some of the best two picks.
Yeah.
Chen Beastmaster. There's Navi. They've probably got the best Beastmaster player in the region. With General as well, on top of the fact that these two heroes already are just a brilliant start to a draft.
Beastmaster is kind of like the LeBron James of Dota 2. It doesn't really matter where you put him in the lineup, he'll find a way to be effective. You can lane anywhere, you're a strong laner, you support whatever, you make the people, the players, and the heroes around you better because of all those auras and because of the space and vision you provide for them around the map. Plus, it's BKB piercing disable, which is really nice against an OD if it's a 1 or a 2. Like, there's really not much you can do if you just get roared in the face.
Navi's turn to pick.
Well, let's see. They ban out the Tidehunter. Would, of course, been able to help a little bit with the clear of all the little things.
Is Shadow Shaman in the pool? Indeed, it is.
Indeed, it is.
It is.
I've got a premonition.
Yeah, that would.
But so far, Roger has played
10
both
seconds
Shaman
remaining.
and Chen. Because I don't think Always
that's-
Wanna Fly plays Chen, right? I'm sure that Always Wanna Fly plays Shaman. I don't doubt that.
I know he plays Chen. I've seen him play Chen, but I think Rogers might just be better. And to be fair, some teams like it a lot as a 5, like Puppy and Crow notably played for their teams, but they do also take a lot of farm. Like they don't play it as some hard 5. Plus wards are free nowadays. Honestly, 5s are just spoiled. You don't have to get the courier, you have to upgrade it.
There it is.
How many sentries we gotta buy? Come on, dude.
Bada bing,
It is
bada
not
boom.
free.
Yeah, but this is the Navi bread and butter. So
Yeah, at least NoTechies banned Lycan. We saw
That's
this
true.
lineup come out from Navi the other day in the series against Team Unique, and they got these 3+
Yeah.
Lycan. So this is, NoTechies are improving on the draft that Unique tried against Navi.
Hey, creep killer. One thing that we should be wary of, because if you're talking about the series that we saw Navi play the other day, where they looked very strong, their last pick was the mid Doom.
Yep,
And
Boy, it's still
that
in,
is
isn't it? Yeah.
very
It is.
scary and still available.
10 seconds remaining.
real solid. The Wyvern is your old school counter to these sort of Beastmaster Chen pressure lineups.
You say old school as in you don't rate it nowadays as much? Or?
We don't see Wyvern for a reason, right? The trouble is you don't really make too many moves early game. Your lane is rather weak, and it just doesn't feel like the hero does enough. Like the ult is nice, it's a long cooldown though, and I feel like the game has changed. Because back in the day, you remember Wyverns would just plant themselves at their safe lane, spam W, defend the tower for 5 minutes? It just doesn't feel like that's viable anymore. And PL, this is great pick. We saw this yesterday in the Liquid Enigma series. What's up, Kev?
I just love that like they saw the first 2 NoTechies picks and every single pick was just like a lot of shit to deal with.
Yeah.
Like right off the bat, they're like, well, this is really clear. Just pick
Yeah.
one death ball.
Remaining.
Good luck.
Yep. I remember Moo talking about he would always call it trash, like how hard it was to deal with. Like during scrims, like they've just got so much trash. Like we need to clear it, right? And in this case, you've got illusions, creeps, summons, necrobooks, wards. And that is super effective against OD specifically because you are a right-click hero. You orb attack things. Orb is not like you can't hit all of the trash. It's just not possible. You're going to the dump and all you've got is a broom. It won't work.
The broom with like an inch surface area or something. It's like a really thin broom, Only hit one thing at a time.
So what can they still pick? They still have 2 heroes though. Is there not something that can deal with that easier than that? Because this OD could be flexible, could be mid, could be offlane, right?
I just hope that they're not going to be looking at the PL and going, hey, Sven's good carry, right? Has cleave. We played it before.
Yeah, they did play it before.
It's, sure, it has to cleave against the illusions, but it's still a Sven. I just hope they don't go the way that they did in the other series where they went for that 5th pick Sven.
Yeah.
The best
What
hero
about-
would be Timber, but that was banned out first too by Navi.
Yes.
What about another battle for your hero? Something like
you have to, yeah.
Ricky or something.
Ricky's good, right?
But the thing is, yes, when you have Ag's Battle Fury, but before that, how do you clear the army? If Wyvern dies,
It's down to your mid laner. They're going to pick some sort of mid laner with heavy D push. Yeah, at least
it's like conceptually, it's not like deep push. It's the trouble that like Navi represents so much extra damage because of their friends that they can summon or spawn. And if you can't deal with, like, you just need to deal real damage. And I just don't know if you can do that unless. And that's a good start, but it's just so squishy. It's what we saw actually Enigma ban in the second phase yesterday.
Sure.
When they were planning on going for this PL. So arguably the best hero against him.
I actually like it though, because you're definitely right that it is squishy, but they've got both OD Banish and Winter Wyvern Cold Embrace and Winter Wyvern Ulti to back him up. So I actually think it's a perfect pick in this situation because they can actually buy him time because it is like almost all physical.
Yep, that's a good point. Pugna, pretty effective for Navi. You don't really want to pick it into the Nyx, but would be quite nice against the Lesh. I could also see maybe something like an Ember Spirit coming out. But yeah, that's the perfect pick, though. I will say that is probably the only thing NoTechies can pick that actually answers the PL and all of the creeps. Because an overfarmed Lesh will just kill everything with the backup he's got on the squad already.
What if he gets eggs as well this game? The ethereal on yourself, or ethereal on yourself and your opponents, because if they do stay pretty heavily physical damage, it would be like another thing on top. You can't use it with BKB is the biggest negative, of course, so he could still be disabled while he does this, but he's got options here.
In terms of Battle Fury buyers, I'm seeing like the Viper ban. Maybe they're prepping something with some solid passives. Would you be happy with the PA for NoTechies?
They're gonna bristle.
Pretty strong this year.
Oh, you're the bristle. Yeah.
I mean, I guess they do need a solid frontliner, and Bristle would be the one to run in and sort of tank it all.
With Tide banned, I think that's what you're looking at. You just need somebody that can get in there and make space for the Wyvern to next, because they don't really want to initiate fights. They want to play the outskirts. As a Wyvern, you don't ever want to lead with your ulti, and you want to be able to give proper vision and engagement for your Shrek.
10 seconds. Navi's turn to pick.
Bloodseeker it is.
There it is.
Not
Start
really your frontliner.
I was close.
Doesn't buy
pretty tanky,
Battle
though.
Fury.
It buys Maelstrom.
I actually,
Okay.
I kind of like it too, because if Shaman ever goes on somebody, you just throw the blood right, and it's like their engagement's going to end a lot earlier than they wanted.
It's also really nice with Leshrac, because he's your damage answer, and now you can blood rage him.
Ooh, yeah, that'll be 30 spell amp. Insane.
And the bat made it all the way to 10th pick here for
Mid-bat.
Iceberg. Mid-bat.
And it's offlane OD, mid Lesh. It's going to come down to Roger, I feel. His rotations, his movement. Do they get early tower advantage?
I thought if Bat wins his lane or stomps the game a little bit. We'll see.
All right. Thank you so much, Kevin, for joining us for this draft. Now, we painted a little bit of a picture before the series, and the picture was very heavily favored towards Navi. I am curious to hear from my panelists if, with the draft being done, you both feel the same way. Kyle, you want to go first?
It is more even than I thought. The thing to keep in mind is that you still have a ton of early game pressure on Navi, and PL is still the hard carry in this game.
Yeah.
Yes, Leshrac is a good matchup, but late game, PL 3-4 items in, especially with that new Eternal Shroud, the upgraded blink, like, you will win the game for your team. And if Navi can get that early lead, they can capitalize on mistakes so much easier, because Beastmaster Chen, like, a couple pickoffs, okay, that's a tower, 2 towers, Roche. That's game.
Yeah, I don't dislike what NoTechies are doing. I think compared to what we saw them do in the draft the other days, this is a whole lot better. But no, I'm very scared from going against Navi, especially with that last pick bat. I think one of the reasons why Iceberg's Dooms is so strong is because his timings and movements are just so on point, and I think he can play bat in a very similar manner. And as Kev says, you know, if he's able to smash the mid, which I think he will, he's going to take over this game as this Bat Rider.
All right, all eyes on Iceberg, all eyes on that mid lane. Let's find out what's going to happen in the opening game to this series with Capitalist and Fog.
Numbers have accomplished.
Thank you, Shiva. That's right. It's going to be a very important series, I think, for NoTechies. Vogt is they've already lost against Live to Win. If they want to have any chance of being in that top 3 groups, they kind of need to take down one of the big dogs, which is either Navi or Virtus Pro.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm pretty pleasantly surprised. You know, I'm happy to see it too, because it is solo, so you have to expect that he understands and knows what he's doing with these drafts.
Whoa, Fox, hold up. I'm sorry, but were you not listening to the panel? Did you not listen to Kyle? Kyle said he was gone for 6 months. There's no coming back. You can never come back and be a good captain once you've taken a break.
Depends on how you want to look at captain. Like in-game calls and stuff like that, the map hasn't changed too much, and I feel like some hero counters, it's still relevant, right? Like we see this Lesh pick versus the PL, the Wyvern versus the summons. You can tell, yeah, he's got his concept down for his team. If they're going to be able to execute it, that's a different story, because I feel like it is a little bit harder to execute on their side. Navi's is just, it's very their style, right?
All right, well, another thing that I know Kyle does not like is this OD3 position. It feels like something that NoTechies was kind of like, in some ways, forced into. They either had to do a Leshrac safe lane carry or move this OD somewhere else besides mid. They're going to be putting it off lane and putting Lesh mid in the case. Are you okay with this? What do you think about the 3 position?
I'm still torn on it. I don't know. I feel like it just, a lot of the times it feels like there's this huge gap in your lineup where I just like having a normal offlaner rather than having this just bizarre, you know, you understand why they're doing it. And, you know, this Meteor Hammer build is kind of clever. And we've seen people go for these int offlaners like Wyvern and stuff like that. But I always feel like they fall flat. But I mean, we'll see. I know it's really, really prominent in Europe. I'm seeing in like every single pub game, these OD offlanes. So
Yeah, I've gotten a chance to play some of these games, and I definitely agree with you. It feels very hit or miss, just kind of depending on the lineup. The faster paced the opposing lineup is, you know, with instant stuns or having blink mechanism top the enemy, the worse this OD feels with his setup. But if it's a slower lineup, you know, it feels like you can actually just kind of like do this weird initiation just off of imprisonment and sitting way back with your meteor hammer, kind of daring the enemy. Go ahead, come into us, see if you can actually take this team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's in this game. It's like they had to throw, like you said, they have to throw it off lane, and he's in a horrible game anyway. So maybe it is the best thing to just put him in the stack role because he's fully countered, right? Bat Rider ruins OD's game, Beastmaster ruins OD's game, all the summons like the panel mentioned. So, you know, they're putting him in the sacrifice, which is probably the best bet.
Yeah, and seeing as they already had their 2 sports, they couldn't really downgrade him any further.
No.
Let's go ahead and take a look at some of our CS matchup as mid lane is with Ergon playing that last track up against Iceberg on the Bat Rider. That top lane too much, but I have to imagine this is probably one of the tougher lanes to go up against a Beastmaster with Shadow Shaman. Beastmaster with any of these like Linas, Wind Rangers, Shadow Shamans, any one of those really annoying, hard-hitting floor positions feels like a tough lane, but if anybody can kind of deal with it, it's the Bloodseeker, right?
Absolutely. That extra sustain that comes in is massive. And also, I like Kevin's point, the blood rate, you know, makes it hard for them to go. And they're actually getting aggressive on General. They're going to get him here.
Yeah, General just needs one more hit here, and Crystallize will be able to clean up that first blood, gets a healthy amount of thirst HP back into full as well. So really good about this lane. It just, I think Beastmaster is one of those offlaners that he's very tough to beat right now. But if you can manage to beat him, I do think this hero struggles coming back and having that same kind of overwhelming presence when he just goes for this Necro Book rush into Necro 3. You have that at like 15, 18 minutes and he's taking all your towers, and you feel terrible. But if he gets it a little bit late, 2025, you're usually going to have some tools to deal with it. As I say that, though, General putting the pressure onto Crystallize as soon as...
Cool to point out, too, that you see General skill build this game as well. He's just going for the axes rather than going for the actual boars in the laning phase. I guess there's too much clear. The Splinter Blast plus that Blood Right will just end up killing, and he's just going to give up too much. He's just going for this approach. Kind of cool. Kind of different.
Yeah, we usually see when people go axes, it's usually just one, right? And then they just don't summon the boar until they're level 3 and have that higher HP boar, but he's really committing to this.
Yeah, I think I honestly can't think of a better lane versus actually. Like Wyvern and Bloodseeker, I'm just like trying to think off the top of my head what would just do better versus him. This just seems so damn good. Like, you're this super tanky hero on the Bloodseeker. Look, Wyvern is good later on as mid.
Really good job by Iceberg, forcing those kind of rotations and still backing up pretty easy. Top lane, though, does leave General alone as the Shadow Shaman who's rotating over the power route. And Crystallize and Solo read that opportunity loud and clear. They said, okay, the Shadow Shaman's going to be sitting on runes, which is very likely in this Bat Rider versus Leshrac matchup. Okay, at least they get a little compensation for it. Iceberg gets a very important rune.
That's a kill rune if I've ever seen one. You can take advantage of this so much with Sticky. Probably one of the best heroes in the game to get that early on, especially. So nice rune checking, but yeah, like you said, they take advantage of it. Crystallize is off to a very hot start, and a lot of Navi's success has been off of General's success, of how much he can pressure and how much success he's having. So this is a really good start for them to at least slow him down.
What about V-Tune? I mean, Kyle had some real praise for this guy, and I had to agree. V-Tune is very good as a carry, but it looks like his lane, he's doing all right in CS, but when it comes to the levels, looks like he's had to share experience Chen quite a bit as Roger is... Mid lane, though, Ergon's going to be dope here. Iceberg not wanting to dive too deep into the tier 2 tower, but will have to in order to get that kill. He'll take a couple of tower shots, might die, but he's got a fairy fire in his back. He's okay. No rotations. Patch him out. He's got the bounty runes to pick up here, unless the Winter Wyvern can get vision. Oh, he barely got vision. He gets a couple hits in. He's low enough that they've got the thirst as well. Crystallize is going to be there to clean up the kill. Okay, nicely done, Bloodseeker. The advantage of the Bloodseeker and being able to make this rotation.
Yeah, that was Very. Did he get the bounties as well too? Okay, no, always want to fly did, but yeah, nice little movement. And like we said, Arcane Rune, it's so easy to get those. Even without the point in Flame Break, he just literally chased him down. And yeah, I'm glad you actually mentioned VTune because I think a lot of people know this, but you can just look at the hero level to that platinum. This guy is a PL Terrorblade, just illusion spammer.
Yeah.
Very comfortable.
He's got a good support behind him, but it looks like Malik has done pretty well for himself. He's been given a lot of solo experience. Zion not even close to lane anymore. I think they do realize that, and that's why they're really trying to put the out, but it's not quite working. Top lane, always want to fly, does go down to the Splinter Blast. Solo finds that out.
This top lane is just owning. Oop.
This Bat Rider's just tearing things up. Feels like Iceberg is really going to make sure that far out of control.
Yeah, it's huge that he can get this type of advantage too versus the Lesh, because I think, Kyle was the one talking about how Lesh, you're great versus all these summons, but there's going to be a problem where you're extremely squishy, and what better to take advantage of a squishy hero than Bat Rider to move him out of position in most of the team fights. There is the Nyx that's always going to be there to deal with that Bat, maybe counteract it a bit, but yeah, definitely going to see Iceberg putting a lot of focus onto this Lesh in particular in the early game. As bottom, Malik.
Just going for the TP out, knowing that he wasn't going to be making it out alive otherwise. He is getting very close to that meteor rush. Urgon got pretty lucky earlier. He managed to find the power room bottom lane, and it's pretty much the only reason I think he could continue to lane against the Bat Rider, being able to have that illusion route. Not typically one of your favorites of previous patches, but now that it dispels, feels hook up with Science and rotate bottom. See if they can kill the Phantom Lancer.
They'll have to settle.
Yeah, they'll have to settle. They run into Roger. The smoke breaks. Roger will die, and V2 hide behind it.
Oh, does Aragon not know though? There's 2 bounty runes over here. He could actually just claim. I think they scouted it too earlier. He could just fill up his bottle, but it doesn't seem like he's aware for the time being. Top.
You got the Rupture. Going to be able to hold back this Bloodseeker. General's going to turn and fight. That's his only option here, but it's not a great option. He will die. Crystallize is going to be very healthy here. Iceberg's actually going to rotate over, though. They might be able to catch Solo. In fact, they will definitely be able to catch Solo as they're going to put a stop to his TP with the Shackles. Well in timed with a top lane push of creeps as well, but the Siege Wagon is actually already dead, so never mind. Neither team going to be able to pressure.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Who got the last 10 kill was Iceberg, so that's pretty much boot to travel done. So he's going to be able to make these moves and be able to match a lot of the aggression that's coming out if Aragon likes to. Aragon actually has a haste. Always want to fly. Pretty dead.
Nice, easy opening. Fly, throws out what damage he can. Iceberg is actually willing to kind of fight this. Maybe it's because he sees that Urgon is low on mana, so Zayat is dead as a result.
Good run away by Urgon. If he sticks around, I think he just gets lassoed onto the cliff. And he will be able to back up, clear out a double stack, and go check those bounty runes, Aragon. Go check it out.
They're going to see it. They're going to check it out at like around the 10-minute mark when the fresh ones are spawning, and then they're going to see, oh, wait, there's still bounty runes here. I have to assume they just thought because there's a Chen down there, it's so easy for a Chen to guard runes, even if it means denying them. But looks like Roger's been focused on stacking up the last couple. Hefty amount. Iceberg may try and clear through those, or no, they're going to play up to top lane. They've been really running in General. They're going to do so again here. The Splinter Blast is going to land and slow down General. He's going to be caught by the Blood Right, but with Iceberg showing himself, Crystallize and Science immediately back away. Solo's going to be caught. I love this play. He's going to lasso up Solo and still try and run down Science at the same time, realizing that he may have to just commit for what he kills. Science got to be careful of the flames. Iceberg's getting a little bit low. Primal Roar out on Crystallize. Iceberg is going to use his bottle to stay alive underneath the tower and attempted to TP out, but always want to fly. He's going to put a stop to that one with Hex, Shackles, and a big rotation from Navi that puts them 2K up. And just as the 10-minute bounty runes.
Love whoever makes that call. It's like Iceberg has to be the one to bail the game out of its not bad state by any, would bail a general out of his semi-bad lane. So he's the one who makes the turn to make that rotation up top while the PL farms those stacks. I think Ergon did go down and get those, at least one of the bounty runes that was there sitting for a while. And they'll be able to transition to push bottom, but a huge hit from Navi.
Hey, I don't like
Yeah, general, he's back. He's got his book 1. I mean, 10 minutes isn't bad for how rough of a lane it really was.
No, not at all, especially since they have taken that safe link tower, so more real estate to work with when it comes to jungling those Necronomicons. I especially like that aggressive push up to top lane, because what is NoTechies going to do? The only hero that can rotate in that scene is the Leshrac that had vision of what Ergon was up to. It's not like Malik with the Meteor Hammer Rush is going to be a big impact if he TP rotates up the top.
No, and he, like we mentioned, the OD is so countered in this game too. Like he goes up there, he's probably just food for the team of Navi. And Ergon started his TP and canceled it, and that's when Navi was just like full blown just diving the tower under. So Ergon definitely has to be a little more careful. Rupture on Iceberg, but he's fast. He just get back to the tower.
They're going to catch always want to fly as Malik did move over. They wanted to take this mid tower, and an opening and being able to kill this Shadow Shaman mixed with the Leshrac and Meteor Hammer. Looking like a push that should manage to take it to help even things out a little bit more for NoTechies.
General is considering walking up here, just going to spam it with some axes. Not going to be able to actually look to defend it all, even though he does have Roar. But they could look to fight here anyway on Navi. They could look to meet up with Iceberg up top with that Roar available in that book 1.
Dota. Run up and see a bunch of Phantom Lancer elude. Up on their triangle right now, just very happy with farming Ancient Stacks. Don't really need to go anywhere. That's the power of Ancient Stacks, right? This is the most fortified area of the map if you're on Radiant. And it means that you just kind of play up here. Nobody's really going to contest for that too hard, because that team fight's going to be big. And you're not really falling behind in Golden Experience. Got that big of a...
No, definitely not. It's always really nice. I mean, Bat Rider is now, it's so nice to be able to have Ancient Stacks and your Bat actually is able to just help you from all these changes. Yeah, Vtune, he's getting enabled nicely. Looks like he's gonna have a good timing on his defusal. It looks like he went for the hood first to kind of protect himself, but yeah, he's off to a great start here, and we'll see if he does upgrade that one as the panel was talking about. I think we did see Miracle in particular do that. They're starting to set up for him though. They did have vision up here. But it's still tough to set up for the PL. It has to be the Nyx Assassin. It has to be Zayat's leading 90% of the time, unless they get a curse set up.
Sadly for Navi, their smoke rotation at the bottom lane didn't crystallize. Crystallized just a bit lucky. Manages to spot always
Radiant
up to the high.
are fortified.
Maybe just in general, a good read of him not pushing lane. Now he's going to be rotating up top here. They really want to try and take this fight. He's going to go out on Zayat, though. Zayat's going to be caught immediately. Still has the spike carapace, though, so he may be able to just waddle on out of here. Good.
Under attack.
Okay. Yeah, he reveals the fact that there's a sentry and likely an obs or something up there. Just a sentry this time around, but at least giving some information for his team. And they can likely just back away now and reset, since all of Navi, they saw at least 2 or 3 ports go up there. And that, even though Roar is down, it's still a kind of scary fight, because this Chen, he has mech and Hand of God now, so they do have decent damage on their lineup, can get counteracted pretty heavily. But Navi is in a little bit of a weak point right now. They're finishing up these items. They're finishing up in particular the PL's defusal, which he needs in order to actually be able to get involved, while Bloodseeker can just start charging in at the time. So this, maybe they do look to take advantage. Could be risky though.
See if Always Want to Fly is able to get out of kind of looks like a suicide rush, as he just ran down mid, planted some serpent wards as that fight was starting in the top lane, which is pretty smart, right? DC's like, okay, there's going to be a fight top. I can't rotate fast enough to really be impactful, so I might as well just hit this mid tower.
I like how he also did the caps locks ready. So I think that's probably saying, maybe some panic going in there for him, trying to get the hell out of there. They pause while he's trying to split push, the worst feeling ever.
Well, he's going to have to, he could have maybe instantly TP'd, but if he TP's now, to hide somewhere.
Here we go. He might be able to get the tower here, though. Malik does
he wasn't going to be able to TP right away, then he does try it. It does not work, and he does die.
He's trying. Oh, they clear the wards, and they can get the deny if they'd like to. And they will. Solo's going to take that one out.
where do you stand on the denying mid tower? Because I've heard some people be like, just almost never deny your mid tower just because it is so important to hold that real estate. And then I've seen other people, they're just gonna like try and backdoor it or just deny them.
I think exactly what Solo did is when you deny it. If you're going to deny it, you have to get vision in this area to control at least. So he puts an ob sentry down immediately after he does deny it. So they at least still have, not, of course, the control, but the information at the very least. I think this is exactly what you have to do if you do deny mid.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
Because then you can farm. I think everyone knows the mid wave to farm the scary wave. This one gives you an opportunity to be able to push that extra wave out because you do see the opposing high ground a little bit, especially during daytime. So
Malik, he's able to push down that safe distance. Pretty tanky now that he's got the 200.
Looks like we're getting some. A couple new items too. Also looks like bots also for Ergon. Now I feel like Navi, now they're fully enabled to get online. It's Bat Riders, BKB is about to be done, Diffusal's ready. This is a huge window for Navi, I feel like, to take advantage, because looking at the NoTechies lineup, it's still mostly magic damage oriented. Share the Curse and the Bloodseekers there, but a lot of that's going to just be completely negative. Iceberg doesn't have to worry about Nyx anymore with BKB. He just runs right through and picks a target.
Sentries, spotting Zayats again. Just not getting any opportunities. Vendetta up to this top part of the map. And it feels like to me, Navi, like if they succeed in this rotation, which they're going to go for Malachi, they should be able to catch him pretty easily, as they still have the lasso. He's not going to blow it just yet. Now pops it. Solo's looking for the Winter's Curse, surrounded with the Phantom Lancer illusions. He goes for a guess, but he hits an illusion. Not the real Phantom Lancer. And now that means they're going to lose this fight and potentially be run down underneath their tier 2 tower. Solo's going to be up next. The Impale going out. Primal Roar on the left-hand side. It's Crystallized going to be caught, swept up by the swarm of Navi members that run down the mid lane. And from here, I don't know, Fogs, it's looking like a game where Navi is just getting farther and farther ahead. And I don't know if their lineup's going to be able to contest with this much free.
Yeah, I mean, this is the issue. You know, Navi, this is their bread and butter. They've got a super comfortable pick here. Sure, the Lesh, as we said, the Lesh is good versus the PL, but that's the majority of it. The other heroes, they're pretty vulnerable to this, and V-Tune is off to a beautiful start, 16 minutes in. And Navi, like we said, they hit this beautiful timing of everything together. BKB, Diffusal, Hood, and Malik, he just bet his life as Ergon steps very far forward.
Yeah, he's just going to take this fight, but immediately Iceberg's going to pop his BKB challenge Leshrac. They do have the imprisonment. It's going to come out from Malik. Crystallized, meanwhile, going toe-to-toe against V-Tune. He does get saved by the Cold Embrace, but the Magic Damper is going to be there eventually. He's burned out, while the Phantom Lancer very healthy. And this is one disaster into another here, Fog. They lose 4 for nothing in this fight. NoTechies probably going to lose 2 before 20 minutes, and again, all this is a Phantom Lancer hard carry that, you know, even if it's answered by the Leshrac, certain point where he's that item, really tough to deal.
Yeah, and this is, I don't want to just straight up blame OD, the pick, by any means, but this is where I feel like this starts to happen, where you don't have this natural frontliner, and now either your OD or your Lash or someone is caught in the front lines a lot of the times, and it's so easy for Iceberg. This last pick bat just has such an easy game at this point. Versus the Nyx, as we said, kind of a counter, and there are some saves and all that, but he's amazing versus the Wyvern. And, you know, BKB at such an early time, it's your counter of the Nyx is no longer there. So this is going to continue to be really difficult for NoTechies until, at least, I mean, until Crystallized and the Lesh, I feel like both have some easier way to protect themselves because they're just so fragile.
I like the way that Navi has played quite a bit. This mixture of like pointed aggression at certain smokes, but otherwise just kind of like playing around their triangle between the Roger stacks and defensive sentries, with General occupying that area. It's always catch the him out, whether it's Hawks or the that are out. They just, again, by holding such a nice defensive positioning, they really took advantage of the fact of, said you don't have frontliner on NoTech.
Yeah, and I mean, Iceberg is literally just, I mean, he's ripping the whole game apart by himself. This is what you want your last pick to do. Even though, like you said, versus the Nyx, 9-1-3. You know, he's 12 of the 14 kills. He's just made magnitudes of space and just pressure for his team. Like General's game, as we said, he was having a rough time. Like, look at General now. It's like, did he have a rough time in the laning phase anymore? Because Iceberg just bailed him out of any type of problem he had.
Yeah, he's looked by the less track when it comes to the enemy's net worth. Hex into the shackles from the Serpent Wards on out. Malik is going to try and fight his way through those Serpent Wards. May have to try and go for an imprisonment on himself and a blink away. But B2, he's going to spread himself out a little bit. Looks like the blink went down, but Malik may still be caught. Solo does manage to get a cold embrace. He's burned out of mana, but B2 still hits plenty hard. There's just side of things as well. The tier is just not safe. Nyx Assassin's going to be caught on the other side of the river by Ice. Well, Malik got out. The 2 sports will die. And Navi, full control of the map and very likely full control of Roche.
They're making it look like their usual Navi games that I've seen lately from them. Just extremely clean, very few mistakes, and that just is really nice. I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen Navi playing with this type of like patience and just swift execution in quite some time. These last few months I've seen them have just been really top tier. Especially, like, I feel like they always get a draft that they're very comfortable with lately.
V-Tune.
Radiant's top tower.
And the pleasure of this for Navi is the fact that they don't necessarily have to go high ground with this stages. They can maybe take over the triangle. BKB gonna activate. Iceberg jumps forward before he gets hit by Zayats with that Vendetta. And, we're gonna watch Solo die again. Okay, we're gonna use the Winter's Curse as well as the Rupture. A lot being thrown down on Iceberg to keep him in position. They now have the Vendetta hit, and they'll follow up, and Iceberg's getting a little bit low, but they're losing so many of their members just outside their base. NoTechies, Urgon's even starting to call it back, and that's it. GG. Well played, they say. I don't see how this plan comes back. So, fair enough to call an early GG in this situation.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm gonna go out and say it. I'm not feeling this all plain OD. If you're not having something else to be able to do stuff, like he ended 2-1. Like it's not even like he did anything bad, but it's just I don't know what he could do. I think that was the first and only OD ult of the game, and it just doesn't do.
Dire team pick.
10.
Seconds remaining. Navi's turn to pick.
Witch Doctor.
We have seen it a couple of times in a row now already for Navi. Their drafting is solid, strong, very little room, for poking at very few holes in their drafts, and holes in the draft were kind of the story there for NoTechies and the previous series that we saw for NoTechies as well. We're going to find out if maybe they have what it takes to force out the third game of this series. We're joined by Purge on the big board. I have Kyle and NoTePixel with me still as well, and of course you're watching ESL 1 powered by Intel, and we are in the draft for the second game. We are actually well into the draft for the second game, and it's the Witch Doctor. Which region was Witch Doctor super popular? Southeast Asia?
83% win rate in Southeast Asia.
With most picked hero as well.
Most picked hero as well. So, you know, they know what's going on in SCA. Do NoTechies know what's going on here in CIS with it? We'll find out.
They banned the Beastmaster. Glad to see that. But
I mean, this has got to... I think you're happier this time around if you're NoTechies, because they have shown this Storm very early. You know, this is some confidence from Navi. Obviously, they do have Iceberg, one of the best Storm players in the game, so they're just throwing it out there early in the drafts. Second pick.
cool. He can punish the supports potentially if he gets on top of them first, but there are some worries pre-6 if our Spirit roams on you, so if they can protect against that, it'll be okay. Witch Doctor obviously can deal with Chen creeps pretty well, so in the laning stage, that won't be as big of an issue if they want to lane that there, so they could lane swap, put Witch Doctor off lane maybe, but it's also just a safe 5, so.
Support duos picked first, though.
Yeah, never the biggest fan of that. But the Earth Spirit, I really feel it's more of a core. I'm curious to what Fog thinks on that, because he's more of an expert than I am, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it played more off lane and mid.
You don't want to ask Purge that because you don't respect his opinion? What?
Well, Fog
I actually don't play the hero that much.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's not an insult. I mean, Purge is...
I still value his opinion. Purge, do you think this Earth Spirit will be a position a core or a support?
Kyle, I don't blame you on this. Keeper set you up to have to flame. It's okay, man.
Yeah.
I understand.
Hey,
well, no, you were a pro player back in 2011.
Yeah, I had the highest pro win rate for like 2 months there.
True.
Above everybody in the world. I should have just stopped right there and just bragged about it for years. No, we lost a bunch, so that went. No, I think Earth Spirit as an offlane hero, no, I don't like that. I think it has too many, especially because like you're like so mobile. It's like having to stay on the creeps makes it obvious what you. But mid Earth Spirit definitely can work for tempo setting in that. I don't think I'd want to lane it against Storm. So
no, definitely not.
I think it's obviously supports.
Yeah, but to Sheev's point, I'm just never a fan of opening with the 2.
Yeah.
And I think it's you know what it is that I see the best teams and they just don't do that. Right? They pick an open hero. OG specifically always has a hero that could be support, could be core, whatever, in their first 2. I just think that's a better way to draft conceptually. It's like the easy part of drafting. It's like chess. There's certain openings that the first 5, 6 moves, sometimes even 10, 15 are theory. They don't deviate from that because it's objectively the best. And I think that you can make the same argument about picking an open hero.
It does leave their ambiguity about how their lanes are planning to play, though. Like, I feel like it reveals less about their strat as a whole to have Witch Doctor or Spit. I mean, obviously teams think that that's overcome in some way, but maybe still likes this old school mentality in the drafting or something like that.
Dire team pick.
Yeah, they might have also felt trapped with the OD in the previous game and looked for a way to shape things up. We got a Rubik, a Chen, a combination of supports coming out from Navi. We've seen NoTechies ban out the Phoenix IO, and we talk about this Chen a bit for Navi because we have seen it be successful the previous series that they played as well. At what point are you gonna prioritize banning that instead of the IO or the Phoenix? The IO, I think, maybe.
You gotta ban Phoenix against this squad, though.
Yeah.
That's the always. I mean, think of it as always wanna fly, and you wanna give him a Phoenix.
IO flies 2 tech. That's a really good point.
Hovers.
Backrider ban.
Hovers.
You think hover over float?
I mean, birds don't float. What do you mean?
IO.
Oh, Io.
He's floating in the ether.
No, he just exists.
10 seconds remaining.
He exists at the exact level and place he wants. He's not, you know, it's deeper than just flying.
I don't know if I agree with what Owen's saying.
Io just exists where he wants to, you know, it's much deeper. He doesn't fly.
No, he doesn't fly. I agree with that.
He's an all-powerful
surrounded by anti-gravitational field.
But does he float or hover?
I mean, he exists. I told you. That's what he does. He's just there. He doesn't do anything. Very complex.
Okay.
That's why he has no turn rate. He can look whichever direction.
Yeah, we got a Void Spirit
actually
coming out.
Are you sure it's just an it? It just exists. I think it exists.
So my question, who's going mid? Is it Storm or Void?
Oh, I like this.
That's a harder question now.
Here we go.
That's a good AM pick.
I would say Storm for sure. I'd be surprised because it's Iceberg, right? I feel like Iceberg's just going to want to play the Storm. But dude, AM, nobody's playing this hero, probably for good reason. But I mean, it's against the Storm, right? You're looking, you know, you're looking for that nuclear bomb with the mana void. It could be there. Good luck against sort of the pressure that's going to be put onto your lane, though. That might be kind of rough for AM in the early game. But if he gets there, you know, there's one hero that's going to go boom.
They do already have some set up with the Void Spirit for the Anti-Mage. All right, sorry.
it's okay. That's what I was gonna say. Like the off lane is maybe Void Spirit here, Void Spirit Rubik. I'm not that worried against as an anti-tier. Like he's against 4 anti-heroes at the moment. Like there's so many. Like he wants to use Mana Void like 3 times for a team fight. I'm sure.
I think you want to switch it up though because of that. Because a Void Spirit safe lane now looks real appealing with an Orchid Rush, and suddenly you've got this timing where you're way stronger than this anti-mage, and then you can pick a bully to go off lane, such as Slardar, LC, something that both likes laning and can actively deal with the AM later in the game. I think you might want to ban TA, even though at Navi have already revealed 2 mid heroes, just because Iceberg's so strong with it, and it's such a hard counter to both AM and Puck throughout the game.
Navi's turn to ban.
Are we in the same situation as previous game where we want NoTechies to go for a fat frontliner? We have Navi banning out the fat frontliners at the moment. Mars.
It's not a bad point, but between Earth Spirit and Puck, they have pretty decent initiation. So, like, I sort of agree, but they'll get something that'll round it out. But even without something that's super tanky, it feels all right. I'm more worried about like the gank potential of Navi with Storm and Void. But I feel like if Puck gets a Yule Scepter and Anti-Mage gets his Manta at a good time, then they should be semi-okay.
Ooh.
What are you thinking?
Meepo.
For who?
Navi.
No, I was thinking it was a good Meepo game, but I don't think they play it. Like the Iceberg doesn't play Meepo. It is a good Meepo game.
Does V2 do?
I mean,
you think if he can play it, I mean, yeah, I agree. It's a good Meepo game.
Yeah.
But I don't think he plays it. Probably not gonna happen.
I like that we're on the same page, though, Owen.
Navi's turn to pick.
Oh my God, it's such a good game.
Yeah, it does look pretty. I like the Bloodseeker pick though. Otherwise.
Yeah, because I'm looking at Navi. They need something that straight up just like ends the game. I could see a Huskar, right?
No, dude, Huskar is terrible.
Yeah,
Huskar is not playable.
Okay.
It's a troll.
Yep. So they got their nets in the end.
I'm just concerned about this off lane. To your point, I think it was Owen. Like Void Spirit Rubik just isn't super threatening to an anti-mage. He's gonna have a really nice time. The troll 1-to-1 will be better than the anti-mage, but it's just a more complicated game for Navi. I think they're the better team, so they'll still probably take it.
Yeah.
But I like NoTechies that they've given themselves an actual win condition if the game goes long.
Final thoughts on the draft, Purge?
I really like what NoTechies did with their draft. Even though the 2 supports were kind of iffy, it gave them this good opportunity to pick a carry that matches the pool. But I think Troll will do really good against the enemy lineup, so probably still Navi winning.
All right, thank you very much. Come back to you after the game. Owen, what do you reckon?
You know, I think there's going to be a lot of people out there who are just like anti-mage, lol. You know, it's sort of the same extent when NoTechies pick the Sven. They're like, what are they doing? What are they picking this carry for?
Yeah.
I think AM's underrated. So I'm going to say that this AM will win them the game. Probably won't. But I'm sort of hoping for some sort of upset from NoTechies. And if they're going to do it, I think they could do it on the back of a crystallized anti-mage. So I'm going to say NoTechies are going to pull this one off.
Owen is the carry expert on this panel, so I would I understand his reasoning, but I still just feel like oftentimes nowadays the better team's going to win, and Navi's better.
Well, let's find out. Can crystallized anti-mage carry NoTechies to a 3rd game to the series? We're going to find out together with Capitalist and Fog.
That's right. We've got an Anti-Mage versus Storm Spirit game, and since that is always kind of a one-sided affair, they needed a matchup that was going to feel a lot better against AM. They went for the troll. Well, it felt like kind of like the last, just go-to carry you pick up when you see an AM.
Looking for me?
Yeah, definitely. It is a bit of a troublesome versus a lot of these silences and lots of different ways to disable, and in particular Bloodseeker, get ruptured if your battle trance, can't control your hero, you run with it, not really the most fun. But yeah, it definitely felt like the best last pick for them. Give them not only ways to scale, but also ways to actually pressure and take objectives. Because I think they had the Chen, but they needed someone else that it gets enabled by it. And Troll, he can actually take those buildings and take Roche. And he's got the net, right? Versus the AM later on. He's going to be able to build naturally into a BKB versus this heavy magic damage lineup at some point too.
Maybe a better way I should have described it is they kind of ignored what the rest of the lineup was, right? And it was just like, okay, we just need something that's going to beat AM 1-to-1. So even if it's not like an overall great troll game, they wanted the carry-on-carry matchup.
Yeah, it definitely looks like there. He'd definitely be tripped up a little bit, but I think with like the backup appeals and stuff like that, the Chen, it makes it so that this you know, these silences, you can actually deal with them and get your battle trends off almost always as V2. See, starting an aggro positioning for NoTechies. And I'm really curious to see how this top lane does. I'm definitely in accordance with the panel was talking about how this looks like it could just be a free lane for anti-mage. I mean, Solo is one of those players that he might just skill Voodoo Restoration, and then they just play for the farm, and that would probably be phenomenal for Crystallize.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea whatsoever. I don't know if you've been played much games in NA, but it feels like, you know, I know Southeast Asia is picking up a lot, but NA especially is grabbing a lot of Witch Doctor as well. And sometimes, yeah, you just pick up Voodoo Restoration level 1 or 2 and just chill out in the lane. They can't really pressure you with that ability.
Yeah, and you know, it's like he skills it immediately. So we already see what he's going to do in the top lane. He's just going to play a sustain and harass game, and this should be a pretty free lane for NoTechies for the most part up here.
You know, I actually saw this matchup yesterday in one of my pubs. It wasn't side lane AM versus Void Spirit. It was mid AM versus. It wasn't a fair matchup though, because it was tops in play. And it was my poor rank 300 Void Spirit getting thrashed. But I do know that the matchup doesn't feel great for Void Spirit unless you're able to really put damage on the Voodoo Restoration is able to fix it.
This one was
yeah, they're just always going to be able to win that trade war up top, and I mean, it should just be a free lane for Crystallize, and that's pretty much what they're playing for this. Like you said, they're playing versus these quad int heroes, playing versus Storm. So this is very ideal for him. Look at bottom with the Zaya pulling creep waves. Got some funny business going on with Roger.
Yeah, with the extra 10 creeps sitting there as well. Malik doesn't quite manage to get the blood right there. Meanwhile, Roger will continue to test Zayats for all of these last hits. It's always a little awkward pulling like this when you're on Dire side, since you do have to pull it all the way back between 3. But
yeah,
you know, it is.
Oh, Courier. Oh, geez. Bloodseeker Courier almost just walked right through Roger. That was a little close. The big discrepancy right now is mid. Iceberg is destroying Urgon right now. He keeps pushing him off the wave, and oh my god, he might actually get the kill. Okay, no. It's still though like 9 last hits over him, and he's putting the pressure on Urgon. Not able to get last hits even under the tower here. 4-13.
Terrible. He's gonna need a power rune. Like, this is becoming one of those situations where you are losing the lane so early on that you're gonna need a little bit of luck to help you out. So they do manage to get the first blood at top lane. Crystallize is gonna now turn and chase down Always Wanna Fly as well. All of this without even an Orb of Venom. Crystallize didn't even need that. Was just able to play so far forward. Void Spirit just kind of melted.
I was literally about to point that out too. I was literally about to be like, maybe you should just bring an Orb of Venom out here, because this looks like it's going to be a constant kill lane for him if he does have it. But yeah, without it, they're able to get the 1 kill, push Always Wanna Fly completely out too. And he doesn't have the freest farm though somehow. He's actually only at 10 last hits. I thought he'd be completely free farming, but he's getting pressured a bit.
Yeah, it probably feels like one of those situations where you're focusing so much on harassing the enemy, you just end up missing CIS. Exalt is blink back here. They did manage to get a hard camp tonight, a full wave. That's going to feel good. But it does not feel so good as the domination of Iceberg continues. 20-5 compared to 10-2. Iceberg was true game winner in 1. And it feels like that's sort of been the story of Iceberg, that he is such a good mid laner that he will just straight up win games for you because of how well he dominates.
Yeah, I mean, I've honestly been seeing Iceberg win almost every single one of his lanes. He gets the glyph aggressive onto Urgon here too to keep the creep wave alive under the tower, gets himself more denies. And yeah, the problem with Iceberg really was for some time where he, in the later stages, he made these mistakes. He's been cleaning up his act a lot. The 4-minute bounty runes being checked bottom. It will spawn as action is happening top. And Urgon will at least get this DD self-denied away from Iceberg.
A DD, but no bottle to refill. That's how far behind he is. He hasn't been able to buy that yet. So instead is just funneling himself some.
Yeah, and they can't even like set up. They can't even set up a gank onto Iceberg in the mid lane too, because they put that preemptive ward way earlier on in the beginning of the game to watch if the Earth Spirit, if Zayats does look to make rotations. The only way they can kill Iceberg now is if the puck gets 6 and they TP gank. But Iceberg is going to have a significant level advantage. He might actually just pick up a raindrop or some extra survivability in case that does kick out.
So, Fox, what do you think about the fact that NoTechies, I'm seeing a lot of similarities here. Again, a situation where they don't pick a traditional frontlining offlaner, and another situation where Zayats is giving his offlaner a lot of solo experience to get him to faster level 6. The biggest difference here is that they have Initiator, it's just from their mid lane with Puck. Do you feel better about NoTechies' lineup because of that?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think also Bloodseeker, he's this weird frontliner, right? Because he's not like strength or anything, but he's got such significant armor, and usually like he builds up into a couple of times like either Yules or Greaves like that. So he's got options he can go for. But yeah, they have a lot of different other forms of it work because of that.
Zayats tries to roll in, misses. We're so barely onto V. Farming 32 and 6. Malik is doing all right for himself as an offlaner, 19 and 1. So feels like, yeah, they're winning the top lane. Mid's getting demolished though on the side of mid techies, and off lane it's going all right, but it's definitely Navi winning out on this lane overall.
Yeah, and the big concern really is for me is when Navi looks to start really ramping up the pace a little bit. Anti-Mage, he can show up and do like a finishing touch on the Storm Spirit or maybe even on a Void Spirit with the Mana Void, but contributing to the fights it's going to be pretty much non-existent. So Navi feels like they have a pretty good window around this, like, I mean, even pretty soon, like within the next 5 minutes or so, that they can really ramp up the pressure. And it's going to be up to Urgon and kind of like Malik to really bail out that mid game here with their movements.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Level 6
nice
on the Puck for Urgon's. He's able to make a good rotation here sometime soon.
Iceberg with the Dream Rune, just moving from lane to camp to camp, finds himself, you know, his quad or triple camp that he's got stacked up over here, and full mana for Iceberg.
Twice now, giving Roger the Chen. He contests the lane for the first like 3-4 minutes, and then he's just a stacking machine from there on out, and it's allowing Navi to go from slightly winning a laning phase where they're up by like maybe less than 1,000, maybe up to 1,200, to all of a sudden being up 2-3k because one of their cores is able to go back and clear through stacks. Top lane Crystallized is battling out with Always Want to Fly. He's getting a little bit low. The restoration is going to keep him up, but General with that 6 is going to pursue. Crystallized is going to pop an extra bit of regen that he had with Fairy Fire. Solo still trying to limp away through all of this. General really wanted that kill because he has an early earn.
Iceberg,
like to get those.
He steps up.
Oh, nice. That's a big kill right there.
Ward that Zayats had placed earlier in the jungle, just scouting him out the whole time. Puck, Urgon actually got in a good position for him to capitalize on being there. That was really nicely done. That's a huge kill too. They have to slow down this Storm Spirit, because if they didn't, you know, we've already seen, you know, Kyle mentioned on the panel too, is these rushed Orchids could definitely be a bit of a problem for NoTechies if they come out too early. The Puck and the anti-mage pretty vulnerable to that.
Yeah, they gotta slow him down and give farm up that.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I have to say, I don't love Bloodseeker off lane as much as I used to. I'm watching it, it's just like he throws down this blood right, and he no longer gets the guaranteed kill on the range creep like he used to. You know?
Yeah.
It feels like watching him, he's missing like every single range creep as a result, always being.
Yeah, I mean, and the mana change, right? Too. That's where it got. It didn't get hurt that much. Right, Rupture got reduced, but Blood Right got increased and damage. I mean, it's definitely we're definitely seeing an effect of it. I'm seeing a lot of teams go away from it as V2. There's the Rupture.
It's a little surprising seeing this Rupture before the TP rotation is even started, but it's going to be here now. Urgon has finally arrived, so V-Tune's going to be able to get off the ultimate. He's forced to chase for a long time, quickly surrounded. Very, very dead. Meanwhile, the rotation comes out from Iceberg in the top lane. Does kill Solo, but what they really wanted to potentially kill Crystallize here. Navi's going to set up to defend this safe lane tower.
I mean, NoTechies doesn't have natural push, so they're probably feeling that they can set up to just fight around here with General, and they'll find Zayats right away.
Yeah, he tries to roll out, but General actually puts himself in a position to block that, but now he's caught by the coil, completely out of mana here. Crystallize is going to let that mana void rip, and they're going to have to leave General to die here. So, very likely giving up on this tower now. I'm not sure if that was like a split of decision-making there, if they thought maybe Iceberg was going to be able to come bottom and help out, but...
Yeah, top tower is under attack.
I thought he was actually gonna. They both had mana, him as well as always want to fly. It must have just been a call to just sack the safe lane. It's not like it's that valuable at this point right now anyway, as your jungle is starting to get taken over by these wards. So I think they're gonna be looking to play top side. So I think they're just like weighing the benefit of the move there. Just some kills, maybe not worth it for Iceberg, as you can get much more up top.
Yeah, I think that's one of those situations where maybe you as a team have an idea, or like your 5 position, your 3, they have a separate idea. Iceberg, who's been getting so much farm, it's important to protect that farm, right? Like, you don't want to take a hasty team fight at bottom lane and throw away this gigantic lead that he has. He's at 5,000 net worth right now, while the puck, for example, barely hitting 4.
Yeah, when you're a hero that can have so much impact, like in this mid game, you don't want to sack your game when, you know, your other lanes, they're still doing just fine. Like, sure, your troll maybe was feeling a little bit behind and all that, but he's actually ahead of the AM. So Iceberg, it's about his game. It's all about his Orchid timing for them to continue that pressure. He's going to have it probably within the next minute and a half or so, as I see Roger setting up even more stacks.
Jelly. Good. Smoke breaks there on always want to fly. They're going to try and roll at him, but
wait, did I see that right? I think Zayas tried to silence him and he rolled through Zayas' boulder and got the movement speed extra, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's happened, because he definitely hit a stone somewhere, and I didn't see a stone pre-laid out. That's pretty funny.
I thought I was on crack or something, and they added now, like, Rubik just gets a boulder now or something. I was like, wait, what the hell? Okay, so...
Yeah, I was looking like, maybe it's because his passive somehow, like, okay. Urgon solo. They can't really do a whole lot with that coil. In fact, Urgon is going to have to abandon solo here to die. Now, they are going to roll in with Zayas. He doesn't quite land the boulder. Doesn't hit that extra bit of damage they need onto General. There's a blood right to kind of cover his tracks, but Zayas is in trouble. He needs low ground here, but his roll isn't up for another 3 seconds. He's caught in the corner. Urgon and Malik, they're going to come back in here, seeing that Iceberg is completely out of mana here. The opposing blood right, but damn, that's a mana void that somehow just clipped Always Wanna Fly, and he fell over real quick.
Immediately finishes the Battle Fury right afterwards, naturally into Ancients too. Perfect contribution from Crystallize. Storm, we do see the Orchid was finished up right as he was dying. I think he did get the purchase off, but didn't lose much gold, but a big kill for AM.
So we're going to see that, see the boulder drop here. Yeah, you called it, Giannis. That was perfect. He dropped it right in front of that, the Rubik, I think, to try and pull it back, and instead it got gobbled up.
I honestly, I was so confused for a second. That was the only solution only thing I could think of is, I mean, it's still 3K gold lead for Navi, and they're still in a really good spot. Now they have the mech, the Hand of God, the Orchid. So now, again, they've hit this big timing window. Let's see if NoTechies is prepared for it. They have to have all their ults at the ready. Magnetize still about 30 seconds. Urgon's positioning in particular is going to be everything for setting up for this one here, guarding his teammates. So they're going to pressure mid. Looks like they're even bringing V-Tune over.
Here comes the Chen push. It's one of those timings on the Chen you feel so strong. You've got your ultimate, which is like percentage-wise a huge amount of people's general HP pools. You've got these Chen creeps that you still don't have to do to be able to completely deal with. They immediately get the silence onto the puck, but at the same time, Iceberg was silenced in return by the Earth Spirit. He just didn't last that long. Always Want to Fly is going to be caught and behind the tier 1 tower, but the Hand of God actually goes off, and maybe he can still survive through that Maledic, which Solo is not going to be surviving through that assault as General and V-Tune wrap around. You said NoTechies needed to be well set up to be ready to defend this mid tower, and it looks like they just weren't, honest.
Yeah, it's really all on Urgon. He has to be in a much better position there to not get silenced. Maybe he just didn't know that the Orchid was finished up at that moment, but I think they saw him from a slight second as hitting in Zayas.
Zayas rolled away right as the Orchid was hitting him. It doesn't matter. He's going to die either way, as Iceberg still had plenty of mana. Chase down. They do manage to steal Blood Rage for Rubik, so that is going to be a big upgrade. Storm.
Oh, and Iceberg now gets himself an Arcane rune too. He's getting some very nice runes. I think he wants to finish his level 12 before he jumps into any more action, because it does give you a big spike in power. And they've already got what they came for, right? Mid tower's taken out. Now they can back up reset because Hand of God was used, and they're going to get a bit more of the map. But I still do want to see them look to play aggressive, right? They're playing versus AM. They've got this big window here where they're just playing 4v5 throughout pretty much this next 10, or actually next like 5-6 minutes or so, until we expect Crystallized to have him in.
Iceberg. He is going to try and TP out, but it's not going to happen fast enough.
Storm was coming.
And okay. Into the Roche. They actually get an opportunity just from that one kill. They've got their 2 points in penitence, so decent. And they also have a built-in lifesteal for Troll Warlord. That's math. Could keep this sustainable.
God, those new tier 1 items, man. That mask, as well as the berry trinket, they are a little bit overtuned.
No way that it should give 7 stats as well as 7% lifesteal. I feel like it's just like, or 7 your main attributes there. I think it should be a little reduced, but because it's just too good on the certain heroes that get it are just. I mean, maybe that's just the way that they want it to be, but like Fairy Trinket on certain heroes is just absolutely busted. Possess Mask on like Morphling and some of these other like insta junglers like Terrorblade just feels way too strong.
Stupendous.
Yeah, I saw it. Any hero that can hit multiple units. I saw Tidehunter pick it up as well. And I was like,
oh yeah,
okay, yeah.
Navi's hunting. They have this ward down. They did see the Earth Spirit for a second, CIS. We'll do a small boulder.
Seemed like maybe he didn't fully realize that he was being hunted that way, but the way he goes down, Navi just in full aggressive mode at this point because they have the Aegis on Iceberg. Oh, nice jumping around by Iceberg, dodging the coil. And again, still has that Aegis, so he's daring NoTechies to go onto him. His allies could definitely rotate if needed. He'll make sure to keep that mid lane pushed in front of 3 heroes. He's able to just push that mid wave into the tier 2 while the rest of his team showing popping this top lane. Once again, they're going to take that early outpost before 20 minutes.
Dire's top tower.
And Iceberg, I mean, continuing to just show off individual skill, right? Dodge the Atos, jumps in, pressures the Witch Doctor for a sec, dodges the coil too. Doing phenomenal. And this, yeah, they're continuing to apply pressure, and V-Tune's even walking up to knock on the front door right now with this Chen army.
Dire's
they know AM is nowhere near ready to fight.
Radiant's bottom
Yeah, might as well.
under attack.
And they know Coil's down, so they have a window to actually walk up at the high ground where they're not going to get super punished for...
Pop the glyph. Pick the wave while they can. Another round of the orb comes through, but the tier 3 is about to fall here. They can still... Ooh, Zion's trying to roll forward to go for V2, but V2 has been one step ahead of Zion this entire game, it feels like. And he does it again here. Zion rolls to his doom. It's going to wait out some of those spells, and with those ultimates being used, some of them, they can keep going if they really want to and try and get this tier 3. A pull back there with the Remnant on Malik. The Stolen Rupture is going to be placed on this Bloodseeker. Solo going to run interference here, trying to make sure they can't threaten his Bloodseeker, but he's going to get out a little bit too far, perhaps. Does have the Blood Right covering his tracks. Jump into mid lane. Iceberg, he has been showing himself in the top lane for a while. That's because he's decided to go ahead. Hunt Iceberg. Oh, my goodness. Crystallized. That was a good read that he burned enough mana. Now they're going to start going on to the top lane because the AEM, he's healing up. He's going to join them in this fight in the top lane. A nice kick to be able to break the coil. V2 does manage to finish up that tier 3, but Navi, they need to get out of here. The Rod of Atos is going to hold them underneath this Death Ward. V2's going to take a decent amount of damage here, but NoTechies got to be careful in pursuing as Iceberg is waiting for that long jump.
They saw him too. They saw him resetting. I think they actually saw him get the top rune, so immediately start to back away, but very nice. Crystallized. I thought for sure he was going to die there for Iceberg's jump. Now they're actually still looking to hunt for this image, swinging across generations, reading his movements a bit.
So they just gives himself enough time to be able to TP out as...
Oh, I think he's going to get caught here, though. Yeah. Looks like we want to find Iceberg have a perfect read of movements right now.
Spell shield fast enough. Oh. Just delays very well. So quick there on the trigger finger and able to bounce back both the telekinesis and the orchid.
He's getting to the point where he's going to start eclipsing this farm. It's the Manta is that big timing where he can actually look to be involved about his team a lot, which they really need. That's the one thing too, is they really start needing Crystallized to be this big fighting force, because yeah, they're really falling behind on the other heroes. Supports as well as the other 2 cores are significantly below their counterparts.
It's like they're kind of demolished. just comes to the 4-on-4. The pressure again coming from B-Tune in this top lane.
Look at that. 8 armor talent taken by the anti-mage this game, rather than going for the blink cast range that we usually see. This is, I want to be able to stand and fight versus troll and all this damage too. That's different. Kind of cool. We're seeing B-Tune though, he's got the where he also can just man fight it and toe to toe AM the back.
Yeah, it's a bit. It looks like it's either butterfly or heart. It's kind of interesting instead of going straight for the abyss.
Yeah, we saw Heart on troll like yesterday too, I feel like, but that was when they were really losing the game. Interesting. Maybe he's just feeling that they're just their damage is predictable, and at some point they're just gonna run out, and he's gonna be the one sieging. So siege poke, back up, reset, heal.
Yeah, how did the AM hurt you when you've got heart and no mana? You know, like only got 400 mana to burn. You're not going to do a whole lot of damage. Crystal is going to go straight onto the Chen. See if they can blow him up. Still silence, no mana gone here. Be able to catch the Rubik with the Death Ward out there. Back is going to stop that Death Ward, but the Rubik is certainly in trouble. Beats currently being quiet. Is currently doing some kind of his own off the Void Sphere. Who gets around into the sound. It's pop, nice and clean. Crystal Light flicking away. That cast range, he's not even quite far enough. I'm able to chase him down, and now looks at Malik, who's a little bit low. Puts the Orchid on Puck as quick as possible. The silence is dead. So from Blood Raid's going to try and finish up the Puck, and he does manage to get the full kill before he goes down. Iceberg gets the only kills of that team fight for Navi, but they were 2 very big kills in the 1 and 2s.
It was a whole separate fight on the side. It was like Navi's fighting on the right side. Meanwhile, Iceberg is literally having his own battle on the high ground versus Crystallize, who's trying to counterspell his spells, but he actually played really nicely around on Iceberg. Gets the finish off, and I think all on the back of what an arcane rune he did end up having that allowed him to actually have the mana to do that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten either of those kills. So a little bit lucky for Navi the way that they were set up. A beautiful fight for NoTechies, and Roger making a pretty big mistake. He had mech up. Sure, he was silenced and from the spirit. He didn't pop the mech to survive to get the hand out there. So
yeah, that could have made a huge difference. You got that hand of God, always want to fly, would have survived a lot longer. Earl's voice could fight longer as well.
Yeah, I think maybe like the courier was delivering something like the tome or something. I couldn't see because he hesitated for quite some time before using it. He popped the drum, but he didn't use the mag.
Dagger, Uragon, Solo's gonna be chased down here. Remnant combination. So
Look at it. Spend my doom, will you?
Seems to me like Navi is just keep NoTechies up at this top part of the map. I think constantly spent. Since you lost that tier 3 so early, we're gonna make sure that it's gonna approach your high ground, and you don't really have much of an advantage when it comes to this fight. There's no tower aura. There's tower shots they're going to be poking away, and they're actually maybe going to choose not to even fight at the top lane whatsoever.
Yeah, when they don't have their full squad up, there's no way they can test into it. Yeah, free racks, great call from Navi to just make the move up there, ignore the side lanes, ignore the mid lane, and bottom lane in particular. Crystallize, he does get a nice cut into the mid wave, and he's getting closer to this much needed faster. Navi is not hesitating with their movements here. Tune. To look like he's gonna go for that heart, but they smoke and to try to sweep and
Radiant's
find
middle tower is under attack.
See if they cut over the triangle or if they cut down. Down is definitely where the AM's gonna be playing more often since he is such a mobile hero.
Radiant's bottom
Push that
tower is under attack.
that positioning to the limit. You're like AM, really good catch the AM. And they get the people out. Okay, they lead up. They grab him. They have a follow-up with the telekinesis, and the Remnant's both going to be there. Crystallize tries to get the blink away, but he ends up dying to the Rubik in the end. The Rupture goes out onto the Storm Spirit, but Storm's just going to fight his time here. A cast bounces around with the illusions, but Iceberg jumps back forward to make sure that Malik and Soul are both going to be punished. As with no crystal, Iceberg doesn't have much to worry about. He can jump forward super far, be low on mana, and there's nothing that NoTechies can do to turn and fight him.
Navi has an amazing shot calling, amazing reads of the map, right? Like they see everything that's going on top and mid lane, and they just know he's gonna be bottom farming that spot, and always want to fly with the stolen maledict. They know that they have enough damage. As soon as he walks up, he gets hit by an overwhelming amount. And that tick hit him very hard when he did turn away. And Bloodstone charges for Iceberg. He does get, I think, 3 of them off.
Oh no, Zayat. He could have maybe used that Invis rune to see if he can cut the wave or something. Instead spotted some couriers, but couldn't even get the one that he disturbed.
Try to take the damage down to 10, so you one-shot courier.
Bloodseeker building into a medallion, but right now you're Navi. You're just waiting for Roshan. Is up right now. No, like I think you're left kind of an all defense of Roshan.
From the void.
I mean, I think they might just have to fight around this area. Even Crystallize does not have his item at the ready. If they can get a good spot for Mana Void, that can be pretty decent around that area. So I really think that they have to contest it. Nope, they can deal with an Aegis cheap. He's got the heart. Okay, so I mean, I don't know how the hell they're gonna kill him. Honestly, it's actually pretty crazy. So.
Over here! Danny Iceberg's not going to get those chances to actually up. He tries to jump in first on his eye. It's not realizing, though, that the entire crew was there. He does have my back, though.
He was getting divine favored back. He was doing the Storm Chen trick. Got the shard. He was trying to get sent back to fade, but they blew him up too fast, Iceberg. I mean, I was talking earlier this game about Iceberg that had been making those mistakes, and then he goes a little reckless.
Yeah, I haven't seen that too often, so he misjudged exactly how long it takes. 6 seconds, that's a long time. It's the, what, level 1 of Dark Rift Underlord?
Yeah. He was close. I think it had like 0.5 or 0.6 seconds left if I was looking at the timer properly, but yep. Makes a slight mistake. They're still going to be able to get the rush anyway while he's dead, it looks like, because NoTechies isn't going to make it there in time.
Exit smoke and try and get there, but it's too late. They've already got the just cheese. Okay, well, telekinesis, roll in. Let's always want to hear the blink for Crystallize. He runs into a remnant. Oh no! Now he gets back. This is trouble. He's gonna pop his Fanta. See if he can get out of here. He actually jumps into another remnant. Pulled back again. B-Tune. He's gonna ignore all that and just hit whatever gets our closest. That's gonna be solo. Yet a third remnant. And be able to pull the Witch Doctor back to make sure he dies. Crystallize harassing a bit. Illusion, but
Iceberg's TPing on the outpost bottom. They're keeping tap to keep pinging where Crystallize is. He's wanting to jump him.
Wants to jump over, runs over Malik, and he's able to get him Crystallize. If he can jump in, he has his ultimate back up. He can go for it. Oh no, the Yule Scepter! It stops him. He doesn't put the counter spell in time, and now he had a small chance of being able to kill Crystallize and maybe stopping his high ground push. Instead, he dies, and now it's pretty much a free game for Navi to take over.
I'm still so impressed with Navi just keeping tabs on these heroes. I'm just like watching Iceberg, and he's just spam pinging the AI to follow him as he's respawning, just so and he's just like, getting that angle ready to go for the jump. It's like a prediction by him to go for the Ancients, and they get the successful fight. Hey, I'm down for these racks is gone, and like tap on your tier 4s a little bit since bottom is still has those towers.
So tier 1 and tier 2 up.
Radiant's bottom tower
giving
is under attack.
NoTechies some respect here. Are going to back up. No reason to hit the tier 4s, guess, when they could just start setting up for the bottom lane push. Urgon, meanwhile, is trying to get ahead of that by pushing out the bottom lane as much as possible, but really not have a whole lot of time there.
Bounty.
His heart is honestly so interesting. Like, he's unkillable. It's so much HP regen. I mean, it is, especially versus this team, it's just so valuable. He's having a really free game anyway because of how aggressive the rest of Navi is, but I'm still just intrigued by it. That's the second time I've seen it, so it's that max HP regen during it. And here goes the jump. Getting sent back to base.
KB, just in case he got a little scared there. He was like, oh, I remember what happened last time when I was around an AM.
I was amused by that, it seems.
gonna keep doing that. And I mean, it's already tough enough with Aegis and Peas out, with a Storm Spirit being able to make free zips like that.
Dire's bottom tower.
I don't know how NoTechies set this up to make it a winning team fight. Apparently starts with Solo running into the lane super aggressively while the rest of the team cuts back and see if they can catch Ice. I think it was a play. After all, it's not the one with the Aegis, so Solo is pretty much giving up his life for the rest of the team to come behind and see if they can catch Iceberg. But I think Iceberg now knows.
His BKB's down, so they're really looking for him, really gunning for him.
Oh, they spotted him for a second. Starts jumping away. Making some emergency jumps around and make sure he's well hidden. That two-man sound is set up, but this needed to be going onto Iceberg and eliminating him nice and quick while he's separated from his allies. It was a unique idea from NoTechies, but fortunately Iceberg seemed wise enough.
Yeah, I like the attempt, right? Like, they're like, Iceberg can still die to one stun because BKB's down if the AM gets on him, but Iceberg waits till BKB's back up and kind of just then starts making his way back into the fight. His team immediately starts to connect folks. Not he just play.
They're gonna pop the clip. Their wave is being cut here. They keep that ring alive. Can't go high ground.
Splice almost got the courier kill there onto V-Tunes. As V-Tune heart regen with a blood rage too. He's just full HP, beating on the tower super hard.
I'm faking it in his time. He's got GP, so he's really not that scared of the one against the AM. Crystallized. What happened there? TP back and immediately got controlled up, and that's it. GG. Solo's gonna call it this. The other swamping Navi bringing down NoTechies. Very little effort. No sweat on any of those spaces. These were just two very fast. Closed pretty much like it felt like 20-minute games. Sure, this one actually ended at 31, but by 20 minutes, Navi had a good amount of control.
Yeah, Tune is just getting, in this game in particular, getting leaps